Ooh, Friday. Yep, it's Friday. Midterms. Ugh, it's here. Welcome to the show. Midterm season. That season for academic relief struggle right before March's spring break. Everybody's looking forward to that, which is cool too. Today's show, the trap, the pattern of trap, the randomness of the event, how you react to it, how you cognitively perceive the trap. Chats are open. Give me a second. Yep, chats are open. All of them are open. We're on YouTube, Rumble, and X. YouTube, Rumble, and X. We can do Twitter and Kick, but until we get another request for it, we're going to stay away from the digital gaming platform release, so to say. Nothing wrong with that. As of today, 541 downloads, and there's a big error in that. Let me fix that thing. It's not 468 days. Man, that would be cool if it was 468 days. Wouldn't that? That means we would be hitting the over the year mark, right? 48 days. It's just me and my lonesome today. No producers. Unless you count the four-legged ones on the floor. Let's get on with it. Your brain, the process. A human being's brain is designed to process information quickly. Period. Done. Over. Now, let's not argue or let's not get caught up on the how smart one is or how, ignorant one is to the scene or the incident and the method of cognitive processing. If danger's there, run. If fire burns, pull hand away from fire. The brain, the human complexity of response. So, speed, deliverance. It doesn't mean that the deliverance and the speed of the final conclusion is going to be 100% accurate or even have a good consequence. Not all consequences are bad. There are good consequences. Go to school, be smarter. Go to a university, be smarter. All right? Speed, the complexity of the event, the cost, the scary event, when we face a complex or, a severity of fear or fright, our minds prefer the fast method. Close accuracy is preferred, but not always is close accuracy going to be witnessed, seen, exhibited in human response, human fight or flight. The simple answer is sometimes it's overcomplex, the boring truth. In the past research, us as researchers, us as developing scholars. So in the past, research has pretty much shown us in, content, conclusions, literature review, meta-analysis, anything, would require a, BMI for it. People rely on quick mental shortcuts as much as possible to analyze evidence deeply. Quick mental shortcuts because the time, the process, the understanding level. Do you truly understand what you're seeing? Do you truly understand what you're about to do, the endeavor, the steps that you're going to have to take to get to the end of the tunnel, to get to the desired outcome, to get to the end of the mission, so to say, end of the job, end of the day? People struggle. It's that cognitive reflection and that conspiracy belief. What makes a human being susceptible to conspiracy theories would be an equal exemplar. The easy, the non-overdramatic, the easy to analyze. Mental speed bumps come in two categories, and they're system categories. System one, thinking, which is fast and emotional, rather than system two, thinking, which is slow and logical. Fast and emotional, the speed. What do we see? How do we process it? Do we truly know what we're looking at? Is this an impromptu moment? An impromptu being tasked to do something that one has no knowledge or experience doing. It's an impromptu. It's a make it up as you go. So it's an emotional push. It's fast. It's speedy. The slow, chronological, scholarly review. The logic, the thinking it out every step. It's not quick in society. Human beings, fast-paced, got things to do, places to be, places to go. That's a busy life. It's a busy day. Your day, you wake up and those magic words of I did this, then I did this, then I did this, and all of that missing time in one word, then. It's quick, it's speedy, it's not slow, it's not logical, it's not concise, it's not detailed. Kind of like that word forensics, preparation for presentation, using the sciences and the disciplinary measures of practitioners that have advanced training in their disciplines to aid law enforcement, CJ, sociological, psychological, whatever, the practitioner, deems that further education to help in whatever field. Logic, slow. It's too slow. And the past studies confirmed that we as human beings do not pause long enough to reflect on what's really happening, what we're hearing. It's kind of like waking up and deciding that you need to schedule your day because you need speed. You don't need the emotional stress of what am I going to have for lunch? I want everybody to put out, different sandwiches, seafood sandwiches, different types of seafood that I can eat quickly for lunch, but no meat. No meat, but I want a seafood sandwich. Everybody help me out. Put it in the text. Put a seafood sandwich, unless it's a kale sandwich, or some seaweed. Studies confirm that we just do not pause long enough. It's a chronic upset, and it affects the sociological balance in society, the speed. No one spends the time to observe and cognitively, logically articulate what is happening in the moment. Everyone's susceptible to this because life is busy. System one, system two, emotion versus logic. System one is emotion. The heart is a muscle. The heart doesn't feel the brain. The brain is the one that has the empathy, the push for regression away, resilience, overcome and adapt. Jumping in the conclusion basket. What's really happening? The major cognitive bias is the tendency to make decisions based on very, very, very minute pieces of evidence. Very, very lacking credibility, lacking validity. But speed is the ticket. Fast is slow and slow is fast. The system one, the system two. Slow is fast, but slow is more accurate through cognitive discipline of thought, breaking it down logically. What is the desired outcome? What's the end of the mission? What's the game? What's the game plan to play the game? Instead of gathering all the facts, the normal human being, the brain grabs the first piece of information, period. The first piece. I see the tiger. It's running at me, claws and fangs and slobber. We see it. We see the tiger. Is the tiger running at you, or is the tiger targeting something behind you, or obliquely around you, or is it directly at you? We process what we see first. The information, it seems to fit fast. It seems to stick better. Pieces of information that fall into specific categories: square and square hole, circle and circle hole, octagon and the octagon, triangle, rectangle, whatever it may be, star, something that fits. Jumping to conclusions is natural human instinct. That's the bias. It's the bias of a strong predictor of believing that the random events are actually part of the secret plan of the day, secret plan of the month, the week, the decade, the year. Think about the political venues and the political arguments. Well, it's planned. You're part of the script. It's a diversion. It's an oblique tactic to get someone's attention off of what's really going on. Well, what's really going on? You want a meat sandwich. That's what you want. You want a seafood sandwich. You want a meat sandwich. I don't want any meat. There's no meat on the kale. There's no meat on the green. Oh, contraire. Microscopic animals. Just because you cannot see it does not mean it's not there. Jumping to conclusions. The fast, the speedy. The energy saver, too. Whew, you don't have time for all of that. It's kind of like midterms. Man, I've got things to do. I don't have time to look at all these midterms. Yes, I have to make that time, logically, because it affects others. Speed, the moment, your decision-making wears off. The actual energy you save is, the energy that you save solely for you, but it affects others in a quite possibly positive way or quite possibly negative way. The consequences, the rules, logical thinking. The brain is an energy-intensive organ. It sucks. It processes. It's your flesh and blood computer. Now, we know we can spend the money in the real world and get a good computer, or we can not really spend a lot of money and we buy one time and cry and then buy a second time and cry again because the brain is not trained. The brain does not have what it needs to cognitively process what the eyes and the ears and the nose are seeing, hearing, and smelling, and transferring to linguistic value. Thus the term taste your words before they leave your lips. You've got to process what is happening in the moment, the trait, the discipline, the energy. Most human beings want to conserve the energy and just avoid the hard analysis. Why avoid the hard analysis? Ignorance, embarrassment, self-esteem, pride, the discipline. Instead of asking a question to get the hard, direct evidentiary value or the valid conclusion or something that's a perception or could be perceived to have validity or reliability in the present or the future based on true cognitive reliability in the past. Slow. It's not fast. It's not part of your day. The brain creates stories to explain words instead. History, memory, recall. Now, the brain is not a constructor. It's not reanimating what has happened in the past. It's a recall. Yeah. It's a reconstruction here of construction from the past. Fast, speed, the electronic spark of what I'm going to do now based on cognitive reliability and dependability of the hippocampus. You're processing information based on direct knowledge found from the past. Now, that's the trick basket, right? Susceptibility factors. Some people are just naturally more susceptible to simple biases. System 1, system 2. And it's due to personality. Yeah, the current mood, the emotion, the anger, the tired, the physically bent, the spent. Any of you ever been so just mentally spent from doing something that it wore you out physically, but you really didn't do anything physically? It was all cognitive. It was all brain. It was all think, energy. That brain was spinning. That three-legged little gerbil in the wheel is wore out. Now your body is drained, right? It affects the mood. Future decisions are going to be affected now, in that moment, that day, because of the mood, because the brain is drained or the body is starting to dilapidate because so much energy has been put into one perception, one function. You're not really focused on the target of the next phenomenon or problem you have to solve. When we combine a desire for quick answers with a lack of critical reflection, yeah, doors open. Yeah, one sees the intent. The door opens for seeing intention where none exists. Yeah. Oh, so the intention. So you're telling me I'm hallucinating? No, you're not hallucinating. The brain is still triggered or fixed on past. The brain is still triggered or fixed on perception and the intention of what's going on. What is the intention of the tiger? Does the tiger want to eat you? The tiger's running at you, claws, fangs, but there's a gazelle 100 yards behind you. The little kitty cat's hungry. You're going to react. Understanding that there are systems and levels that the brain perceives, the pathways of thinking in the moment. It's going to help you to understand that, believing the conspiracy of the day, the what's going to happen next in the day, is often just a thinking error for you, for all of us. And when I say conspiracy, I'm not talking about like a JFK conspiracy. The conspiracy of what's going to happen in the moment. What's the predictor that I'm going to have a good outcome or bad outcome? Is it going to be a good consequence or a bad consequence? The predictors of it. The doors are opening, right? The lack of the intelligent focus. We're not just lacking intelligence, training, brain training. It's kind of like those games you play, train the brain to think critically. How many of you played? Somebody type one in the chat, whoever's out there in intranet land on YouTube and X or Rumble. What is a game that's a brain, brain trainer, brain teaser, brain stimuli? Brain stimuli. 541 downloads in 48 days, 7,872 views. Good grief. That's not bad for 48 days for a sciencey educational kind of live stream, right? Not political. We got some good topics coming up here in the next few days. Like, subscribe, and hit alert or notifications so that you can get the notification when we're live streaming. I know it's 2 on a Friday. Everybody's busy with that path. Yes, that random pattern trap of the day and what you're going to do Friday to hurry up and get home and start your weekend. Human beings, the evolutionary superpower called patternicity. 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 N-I-C-I-T-Y. Patternicity. Yes, it's a real word. Look it up. It's a scholarly word. Yes. Feel free. Look it up. Patternicity, which is the ability to find patterns in random data. Tetris. I have never played Tetris. I think it's, if I'm right, it's the fit the object into the place it's supposed to go as it's falling from the heavens or the top of the screen. Give me a thumbs up if I'm right on that. I think I'm right. I don't know. I don't know. Patronicity. While the random data that we get every day, we're trying to interpret, it helps our ancestry, survival skills, things that we've learned over our lifetime. When we say ancestry, right? It's kind of like spotting a predator in the bush. You've learned it. You watched Wild Kingdom as a kid. Yes, and the speed increases. Man, brain power, speed, interpretation, logic. I've only got a certain amount of time. Kind of like Friday at 2 o'clock. Do we plug in the CJTV and take some time on a Friday, or do we not? And we just get some stuff that we believe we need to get done because of patronicity, the survival mode of the day. Today, it makes you feel emotionally secure or successful. It's the shape. Anyone look in the clouds and you see shapes? Is it a plot? Does the cloud reflect the plot of the news? You interpret what you see. You interpret what you hear based on the perception of, there's no agenda here. Well, your agenda for watching a specific news channel to get the plot and get the description of what's in the clouds, which would be the news delivered to you, is the same. Patronicity. You fall subject to specific pattern every time you perform a function or an action. Now, some would, say, no, that's not me. Beg to differ. Imperanious experience, training, knowledge, expertise, the law of intensity, how many times you've done it. Yeah, it's not an impromptu for you anymore. It's Friday. Let's hurry up. Let's skip CJTV and get the job done so we can go home and change and go out and party the life fandango on a Friday and benefit no one. That's typically it. It's the way it works. The cloud plotting. We're wired to find meaningful signs. I keep saying, which, you did know, you wouldn't be here watching. Human beings are wired. The meaningful sign. Okay? When there is only a small flake, a random noise, a random smell leading us to a conclusion. It's an unrelated dot matrix. It's kind of like looking in the sky at night, looking at the stars. Anybody ever wondered who had enough time to lay on their back with ink, feather, or mud and design all of the characters in the stars? The pattern dot, patternicity of the sky. When you look up, it should be the same every time, except for Endor, the moon, Let's explain the moon non-patternicity. It's all over the freaking place. Wake up one day, it's over here. Wake up the next day, it's over there. But you want to see the Little Dipper and the Big Dipper, guess what? The patternicity, the dots really truly don't align, but you can make a shape out of it. You are making the shape of the day based on conclusions that you're coming up with fast. The brain, the electricity, the spark. What is triggering your emotion to accept this with excitement? Something that's got to be done. It's Friday. It's the end of the week. For some of you, it might as well be Monday for those that work over the weekend, and it's not too exciting. It's a patternicity of the down mood. Now your work. Yep, the evolutionary advantage, that's what that is. Mankind, Homo sapien, the development, right, from thousands of years ago. We're not going to get back to that where, mankind came from out of the creepy swamp or, from a satellite broken from an alien Martian ship. No, we're not doing that, right? Historical venue. It was safer to mistake a rock for a bear than a bear for a rock because the rock's not going to eat you. If it's a big rock, it could possibly fall somewhere and crush you, but there would be a means and a manner and something else would have to happen for the rock to dislodge and or move or shift and fall down and crush you. So there are multiple steps. The brain has to process this, but the bear, you mistaked it for a rock. Now suddenly the emotion, the evolutionary advantage, the brain, the what is in the moment, patternicity that is triggering your level of dopamine, your response. Is it something that I have to logically think about and sit here and plot out? Or is it something that I can react to quickly? The pattern, the random event, the change. Now, I know some are questioning as you're watching this. Why is this guy talking about simple cognitive thought? It is CJTV, criminal justice, psychology, sociology. All three of those are the symbiotic circle of society, regardless of what you say, regardless of how you argue it, regardless of your partisanism, your left wing, your right wing, your Democrat, your I hate Trump, I love Trump, I hate Biden, I love, it's all in a symbiotic wheel together. The effect, the randomness, the meaning. True randomness is hard for the human brain to accept because it feels chaotic. It's spooky. It's scary. It's not sequenced. There's no structure. You can't make sense out of it. It's something that you're really unable to interpret in the moment because you do not understand the originating process of the phenomenon, the problem. How did this happen? The claim. Where'd it come from? The calm, the fear. Our brains impose order of the random moment and event. Now, it might not be the correct order in your brain, but it's based on inforaneous ability, learned, repeated, level of expertise. Is it framed? Is it fearful? Who knows? That's all up to you. Making the event look spookier, making the event look safer. Within society, these events, these random events, it's as if they were planned by someone. Sometimes it's you planning the event. You just do not logically comprehend it or realize it. When you do something half-baked or lazy or not to the level of discipline, excellence in all you do, you half perform the task. Well, the outcome, it's not going to be a random outcome. It's going to be a predictable outcome. It's going to fail. It's kind of like the mechanic that changes your oil in your car. Yep, I know this thing takes 6 quarts of oil. Yeah. So the mechanic puts the oil filter on and puts all 6 quarts in the top of the engine, but doesn't, pre-fill or burp the air bubbles out of the filter. So when that car cranks up, it sounds like a time bomb ready to go off. Yeah. Random. That's not random. That was plotted. It's now fear. Am I going to have to pay for somebody's engine? Yeah. The plot, the random event. It's not a random event. It happened. There's no such thing as a random event. Well, a tree fell. Tree fell on the car. That's an act of God. Why did the tree fall? The wind, mile per hour, system pressure, the pressure on the tree, the roots in the ground, not stable enough. Was the tree rotting on the inside? How old was the tree? What is the actual moisture water table to where if a wind, like 80, 90, 120, 200 mile an hour wind blows against the tree, the water level or water table in the ground and the dirt, it's so saturated that there's not enough for the tree to actually maintain, rigidness or its contact with the dirt. It's going to fall over. Nothing's just random. Patternicity. It's a specific pattern that one has to logically, break down and think. Think Star Trek. Think Mr. Spock, logic. Randomness versus meaning, the acceptance. People who struggle to accept randomness are much likely to endorse conspiracy theories that are just 100% fictitious. Now we're going back to the real conspiracy, story, example, JFK, aliens are real. When someone accepts, it's a random incident, there's no reason for it to happen. It was a random shooting. It was a random mugging. It was a random, no. There was a mens rea. There was an intent. There was a design. Well, someone just walked by and, they just did it, didn't they? It was a opportunity. Yes, presented itself. It's not just a plot or a random event. Someone left their Christmas gift in the car. Yeah. That's why you don't go to, you type in, specific, cities in the internet to find out which ones are bad. You don't want to go Christmas shopping to those cities and leaving your expensive, as JJ would say, big A TVs in the back. Now, would you? Someone would steal it. The visual, the mental. Yeah. And, we're talking about response, patternicity. The visual and the mental. The bias isn't just about seeing things with your own eyes or getting the example or explanation of what someone else saw. It applies to how we process information mentally. When you see something, you're still processing it. It's the mental process prior to seeing it, the education, the understanding of what you're seeing. It's fire. Great. Fire. Hot. Caveman. Burn. No. You take an element away from the tetrahedron and you do not have fire. So that means there was an intent somewhere. Heat, fuel, oxygen. Take one away. Boom. Gone. No fire. So there was an intent. Somehow, logically, this fire started. That's why there's 1033 in arson investigator school. And that's why the ATF goes to commercial arsons and different levels of arson. Arson 1, 2, 3, woodland, structure, occupied dwelling. We're not getting into, a true law school class, but patternicity. It even applies in the CJ system. Look at that. What laws? You might hear two unrelated news stories. All right. And immediately link them together mentally because our brains are craving the coherent narrative, the excitement, the trigger. You're not going to go somewhere that's boring. Let's go eat. Okay. What's your favorite food? You finally decide on your favorite food restaurant and it's seafood. Yeah. We're not going to go to the seafood restaurant that doesn't have any meat unless we're going to a specific restaurant that has vegetation that is water-based, grown in the water, seaweed, kelp, whatever it may be. So you want seafood, you go to the shrimp bar, you go to the fish house. Yeah, it's called training. The intent. You did not intend to show up somewhere for seafood when there was no seafood. Patternicity. You already know. The acceptance of the struggle. It's random. We saw seafood and we showed up here and there's no seafood. Anybody ever been to a place that was a seafood restaurant and there was absolutely no seafood? Or it was crappy seafood? It was like catfish. It's not sea. It's lake. Unless it's a saltwater catfish. I don't know. Does a saltwater catfish exist? I don't know. Somebody tell me. I think it would be pretty cool. I found out the hard way that saltwater crocs exist. The hard way. Yeah, bad way too. I was back on that boat like a rat climbing a net. Yeah, the cost of the false positive. Is it real? Am I making it real when it's not real? The false positive. While seeing, specific patternicity in the environment through the day where there was none or there is none, and usually it's a harmless effect, it's still going to affect you because you're training your brain to recognize a specific moment, a specific icon, a specific smell, visual stimuli, audible stimuli. You're training your brain to recognize it as an effect in your pattern choice, your patternicity. It's kind of like the police. Oh, it's a random traffic stop. Nothing's random. Not everyone is just subject to probable cause because there is no probable cause to develop. So it's not random. There's an intent. Why is the law enforcement officer out there in the first place? To make traffic stops. There's an intent there to see a vehicle with a driver. Now, if you just see the vehicle breaking the law, it's either, a ghost or it's possessed, but there's always going to be an operator to the vehicle. There's intent. There's intent to drive and play with your cell phone and be witnessed by the officer and give the officer probable cause to stop the car. Nothing is magically created. Serious consequences. It's not the harmless game when you just think something is random. It's like law. Why is law being written? Why is law being created? Why is a legislative body of a state creating a new law for the state? There's an intent. There's a good consequence and a bad consequence. The pattern is already set. A crime happened. It's new. we have to enhance the law. It's kind of like gun control. We need more gun control laws. Why? Is the intent, patronicity of the criminal going to obey your law? The answer to that is no. That's why they're a criminal with a gun violating the law with a firearm. Patronicity. You know, everything has a structure. It's not random. It's by design. Kind of like a Sherlock Holmes movie. It was by design. Randomization, the serious consequence. It leads to wasted time, fear, distrust, or just a legitimate institutional failure. Because these institutions that society looks at is a random institution that makes decisions and, writes policy for society, or these institutions of government, institutions of religion, institution of, medical practice, institutions of law, institutions of education, like a university. It's not random. They didn't just show up. There's a legitimacy behind every one of those institutions that are there that you're arguing. The patronicity of society needing that institution. You as a singular may see no value. It's just there. It's a waste of time, a waste of money. Well, it's not on your plateau or your venue of what you think needs to be there in the moment. There's a pattern to it. It was created for a reason. We're consistently as human beings looking for the, hidden secret. What are they really doing? What is that agency or that entity really up to? Why are all these cops out here on this road? Why did they change the speed limit? They said people died. What? If they change the speed limit, there's possibly a reason. Quite possibly a reason. Well, I want to take that down. We got a new logo somebody made. Look at that. That is cool. Kind of digging that. I don't know. It's pretty cool. Let's move on. Let's get to the big cause. Causation. Yeah, the error. Proportionality biased. We all fall prey to this. The big cause, the big events, proportionality. And we're not talking like a Tanqueray and a shrimp commercial, okay? The proportion. We naturally believe that big events must have big equal causation. No. A wildfire. California. Hundreds of thousands of acres on fire. Started by a little garbage can fire, or started by a match, or, Smokey the Bear didn't put his, match out correctly. Small growth, small pattern, large effect. We think that if it's a big event, it should have a big result. Not really. Think of a crime. Think of murder. Big event, murder. What's the result? Death. Well, it's singular for the person that is the victim that is dead. There's no big event at the end. Intent, patronicity, causation. One has to intentfully, mens rea, perform the actus rea as a follow. Patronicity to it. Your brain is not, rejecting what it's seeing. Your brain is just wanting a fast answer. Something big. The big cause for the big event. Big cause, murder. Someone's dead. The big reason, disrespect. Somebody owed them $1. Yes, I've seen a brother stab another brother in the neck with a knife over chicken bone soup. I have seen that visually through a window that, myself and some officers are having, difficulty getting into the house because the house was barricaded. But they saw it through the window, talking to the guy, watched him stab his brother in the neck over chicken bone soup, and that's what the whole event was, sparked from. One wouldn't share his chicken bone soup. That's a real event. Proportionality bias. It makes us prefer complex. It makes us prefer coordinated explanations over simple random ones sometimes. Thus, the biased in the conspiracy. And when we say biased in the conspiracy, do not always think that we're talking of conspiracy theory, alien spaceships, whatever. We're speaking about the conspiracy of what is happening in the moment, the plot, the big picture. What minute or finite acts, elements have made the event. And is there going to be a big conclusion? So we assume that if there's a big conclusion, the big cause must exist. That's not always true. Not always true. You know, go back to the COVID-19 big conclusions and big causes. Go back to that. Whatever happened to Fauci? Where'd he run off to? That's a good question. What's Fauci's statement? That's a great question, guys. Yep, balancing the scales. Our minds need to be balanced. Our minds want the cause and event to match the size of the event's impact. A rock is falling from the sky, from space. We expect a devastating world event. A meteorite fell from the heavens and destroyed the dinosaurs. Killed everything. Wow. Big event. Big cause. But yet, who was alive to see it? We've got brains and we've got people, with an education that are telling us what happened in the past. The causation for the big event. That's simple. It's logical. Let's believe it. And that conspiracy again in the moment for when you're arguing or talking about it. The example, a famous person dying or a global pandemic feels too huge to be caused by a simple lab's biological bad luck. So there's a big cause somewhere. We want the answer. We want the conspiracy of the moment, but yet we want to logically think of the conspiracy of the incident. It's a big event. It's got to be a big cause. I don't know. I guess somebody dropped a vial of periodic table death and another vial of periodic table death, and now we had historical pandemic with the name changed. Yep. Rhinovirus to something else. Now we have the big shift of presentation, the conspiracy. Simplicity. Yeah, we're presented with simplicity all the time, with the simple fun, the factual explanation. We want it quick. The major event. Patience. Understanding the words. Seeking out what has truly happened. That's a rarity in today's society. It's kind of like social media. You can get the fast event news of the day. And I know, I've said it in the past. You could watch CJTV, subscribe, hit a like, hit the notifications. Or you can go watch those favorite stir bowls. We're going to repeat everything to you that the news and the media has repeated to everybody else, so that you could get your information fast, quick, in a hurry. Instead of watching 8 hours, we can give it to you in 30 to 40 minutes or an hour, and we can help you stir the pot. Yeah, and we'll give our own political argument and ideology and conclusions in it, just like the media does. We want it quick. We want it fast. We want simplicity. But human beings, when presented with it, rejection of simplicity when presented with a simple factual explanation of a major event turns into a arguable conspiracy. Something's being hidden. They're not giving us all the information. Well, instead of listening to other people do the doom scrolling, maybe you should doom scroll for yourself. Don't be lazy. And when I say that, I say it with credibility, because here at CJTV, we actually research all of our topics and we put it out and we publish it. Now, when I say publish it, we do not put it out and publish it for monetary gain to be circulated, in magazines and journals. We actually put it out in, let me load this back up for you guys. What, I got to do this too? Okay, great. Yep, right here. Facebook. Dr. Mike Gurley, CJTV, lower J, lower T, lower V. Everything that we put, every show that we construct, everything that we put out through Mediafire. And it's free to everybody to download, use, academic, scholarly. If you like it, we put it on, LinkedIn, on X. We can, post it all over the place. And plus, it's there on the Facebook page. So that's what it is. If you want it, go to the page and go get it. Every episode we've got. If you use it, fantastic. Just make sure, you reference and cite correctly whatever method you're doing. APA, MLA the beauty, probably. Yeah. Harvard, Chicago, whatever it may be. Feel free. Go download it. And the assistant researcher for this episode was Dylan McDonald. right there listed underneath. The emotional satisfaction and the pattern trip, the patternicity. It's big. You want to believe in the big coordinated event. The villain actually gave someone the sense of emotional relief. Yes, there was a villain. It's kind of like that show we had previous. The false confession. Confession. False confession. Almost said conviction. Yeah. Confession. Sometimes false confessions relate and develop into a false convictions at the same time. But society wants that simplicity. Society doesn't want the simple trap. They want the simple quick answer. And the simple quick answer is the deniable. Society doesn't want the simple trap, but it is a simple trap. It's not a random event. You want it quick. You want it fast. The emotional relief so that you don't have to think. Kind of like watching your favorite, episodes of live streams so that you get the information quick. You get their point of view. You don't have to spin your wheels and work on it. It's 2:00 Friday. Let's not watch CJTV. Let's go get this done and prepare for the weekend. Yeah, the control of the disaster. Human beings want control of the information and the disaster. The information creates the disaster that affects your day emotionally, brain, cognitively. It's the well maker for you. Well or not well, the speed, the deliverance, the cognitive disarray of the information that you have to interpret. The plot, the plan, the theory. Is the plot random or is the plot by design? The easier it is to give someone in a spoon, the easier it is for society to ingest and digest and regurgitate back out to society. Emotions. The emotional need of control. Yeah, it drives the bias. It drives the bias to look for intentional random events. Intentional random events. Nothing's random, but it'll drive you to look for it when you actually rely on your emotions. Anger, sadness, resilience, the constructive you to make it through the moment, to make it through the day, make it through Friday. It's been a horrible week. I don't want another bad week. Another aspect of the patternicity is who's watching you. Yes, the integrity of it. Who's watching you react. Yeah, the good old self-agency. You, the mechanism. You, the person. Your brain. It tells you someone or something is acting with or without intention against you. Could be bad. Could be good. Against you. For you. Who knows? Your brain is interpreting the pattern of what it is observing. Eye, smell, ear, feel, touch. Fire hot. Well, how's the fire hot in the moment? How did the fire get there? And why did you stick your hand in the fire? Nothing is random. It's all by design, some shape, form, or fashion. Lightning struck the tree. Well, how did the lightning get there in the first place? Maybe you should call a meteorologist. Have that detailed weather conversation. All right. When we hear a rustle in the bushes, so to say, the movement, peripheral vision, it's got to be answered. What is it? We assume, there's a hidden creature there, a hidden agent. You hear the twist of verbiage. You hear the linguistic shift in media. You hear the linguistic shift in political venues. Oh, there's got to be the secret agent of dissent hidden there somewhere. That's a lot of work. It's easier to get the information from somebody else. The shadowy figures that feed your mind. Yeah. The hyperactive detector, which is you, the human being. Yeah. The concept. The hyperactive you is abbreviated as the HADD, so to say. Hyperactive, agent decoder. Yes, yes, yes. Seeing what's going on the actual streams here, making sure we're running good. Yeah, we're running good. Look at that. It's amazing for a Friday afternoon. I'd figure it would be just clogged with people. Stories of the day. War stories. country stories, invasion stories. Yeah, it was all over the place. Well, let's move on with a few more before we close this you and your mind's pattern trap down. Patternicity. That's a good word for the day. Keep that in your lingo for the day. We rarely look, you know, at the visualization of ourselves in the moment, the visualization, the intent for our own study. All right. You watch random aspects of your life, just like your brain sees random dots. And when I say random aspects, imagine the pictures that are fuzzy, the dots, and you have to make the image out of what you're seeing. And all of you know, I don't know what those are. What are those called? Anybody know? Somebody put it in the chat if you know what those are called. The fuzzy or the dots, and you got to find the image in the fuzzy or the dot. What kind of picture is that called? I have no idea what they're called. But our brains work the same way. All right. You're trying to interpret what you're seeing, and you're looking for the oblique in what you're seeing. You're looking for the construct. You're looking for the randomization of it. Is it standard randomization for something that is normal? Is it something that is not standard randomization? The pattern of construct of you've experienced this before. The visual, motion, the audible, the smell, the touch. It proves bias that human beings' very basic nature. And some would say lazy, because if you accept the randomness or you're looking for the bias, you can pick it up quickly. That means you do not have to find the image in the image. You don't have to logically seek it out. Yeah, the blame of why it happened, attributing blame when something bad happens. You, the human agency, the brain, that's the detection service, turns on for you. Who did this? Why did this happen? What is the conspiracy in the moment? Why did the fire burn my hand? Well, you were the conspiracy. You stuck your hand in the fire. But the fire got there. If you didn't start the fire, how did the fire get there? It wasn't random. Tetrahedron, remember? What happened? Who did this? This shifts from a normal, neutral event to a personal event that fuels emotion. Emotions like anger, mistrust, simply because you do not have the logical breakdown of the non-random event. It's constructed, built by design. We're especially susceptible to emotion at that point. If it's a negative event, a negative patternicity that we did not anticipate in the day, something that physically hurts us, emotionally knocks us off the plateau of it's a great day and I'm feeling fantastic. We're essentially trying to find the villain as human beings, the misfortune, trying to find the answer, but we want it quick. We want it fast. We want the pattern. It's kind of like a law enforcement response sometimes. That's why errors are made. That's why officers get hurt. Yep. Sometimes that's why they die. Standard response. Let me go 900 miles an hour in a car and wreck my car out while I'm responding to something that I really shouldn't be like driving this fast to respond to in the first place. That's just the law enforcement's my experience opinion. Let me see. Well, give me a good, oh yeah. Nah, we're not going to cover the supernatural point. We're not touching that one, but we will close out with the human touch. Yes. Anthropomorphism. Yes. Kind of like that. I actually went to go hear a lecture a long time ago on this. Anthropomorphism. All right. For those of you that are unfamiliar with anthropomorphism, we have a natural tendency to give human traits to a non-human thing. Okay. The humanist point of view, nature, nurture. We give value of ourselves to sometimes inanimate objects. Now, there was a student at my university that I work for who did a paper in the past. And it was basically on anthropomorphism, why human beings put specific items in specific places. Urns with ashes, your TVs, your rings, your jewelry, your soap, your toothbrush. Why? It's a specific plan for the specific mood of the day, the patternicity. It's not random. It's by design. You've built it yourself. Human beings put human value on inanimate objects because it affects the human being's day, the human being's emotion. Think of it. If you woke up and you couldn't find your toothbrush, there's a villain. It's a conspiracy. It's a construct by design against me. But you've misplaced your toothbrush. You're putting such a value on that toothbrush. Now, I know you should, kind of like soap in the shower. Get in the shower, get all wet. Or you forget the towel. You got to walk all the way around, the bathroom, sometimes across the hall into the other room because you left the towel in the laundry basket or it's still in the dryer. Yeah. That is what it is. It affects you. You're letting inanimate objects affect you, and now suddenly there's a villain because the toothbrush was misplaced. Somebody is teaching me a lesson. And the lesson is there's a villain. There's a conspiracy against me and my toothbrush. My toothbrush hates me. The social connection, anthropomorphism. It's a social tool we use to feel less lonely too. Why? It's in a different universe. Video games, your virtual life. You put value on that inanimate object, that phone and Facebook, Chitty Chat, Insta, all these cool platforms. You put value in it. Anthropomorphism to your social accounts because you want to feel that you're in a social relationship. Patternicity every day, the pattern, the plot. There is no random event, but the random posting of someone else's quite possible random event is patternicity for you because you want to discover that random event that someone is claiming just happened that had no construct, was not by design. And it does what? Anthropomorphism. Adjusts your feelings, your mood, your specific plan for the day. It enhances it, or it counters it because you saw and read something that didn't make you giggle or give you a good feeling. That is what that is. The social connection. Yeah. And inanimate objects. Didn't know that your telephone and your computer had that much power over you. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. That's why we don't do this every day. We do it like 3 times a week, and the scholars come up with the cool topics, and every now and then I'll do a special episode. And if you ever see one of these episodes, it'll have episode, then the numeric, then one will have SP, capital S, low P, and a period, then episode, and that's a special episode. Those are the ones that I sometimes dig out myself, but the majority of all the research we do here are scholarly based and researched by assistant researchers. And yeah, they do a lot of research, believe it or not. A lot of good stuff too. A lot of stuff that surprises me when it comes down the pike. Surprises me. The last one, the villain in your narrative for patternicity. Yes, the anthropomorphism, bad guy. You got to have him. The villain narrative. It's one that gives human beings traits to, abstract simple concepts. The abstract view. It allows us to build a narrative with a good and with a bad. It allows us to build a narrative with a consequence. A good consequence or a bad consequence, when sometimes there's really no need to build a consequence to it. It's something that happened. It's a problem that must be solved. It's a phenomenon, but everything has a constructural design to it. It didn't just randomly happen. It was a random car wreck. Why was there a MVA or an MVC? MVA, motor vehicle accident. MVC, motor vehicle collision. Something happened. They didn't just magnetically connect. Think of 2 magnets, the poles. One side doesn't want to connect, but you flip them over, obliquely and snapping together. There's causation. Stories are much easier to remember when we believe the raw data of good, bad. the bad guy, the villain. This was something that was, designed with construct against me, when in reality, it was all you. And when I say all you, it's all your perception to it, perception to what's going on. The bad guy theory, the villain, the anthropomorphism corporation of you. It's kind of like the anthropomorphism. You put such deep emotion into the inanimate object called government. Yeah, it's a word, government. There are human beings in the government level, the executive, judicial, legislative, right? The executive. You put that value in that simple word, the government as a whole, and then you turn the, good guy, bad guy switch on when something happens. Get a new verdict out, something out, good guy, bad guy switch. The man, the government, turns into a personal story for you because you took it at a personal level. Patronicity. You're seeking the bad guy. You're seeking the causation for what's bad for you in the moment. Reinforcing the idea that someone's acts, the government, were intentional against you. Well, in reality, the actions are intentional, but not singularly at you. Could be for one specific act, one legislative creation for judiciary review by those in executive positions to enforce a legislative law at a judicial level. It's like a big symbiotic circle. It's kind of like that sheriff and that politician from, I think it was 2 weeks ago. Both of them need to go back to school. Both of them. And the politician guy thought he was, making the sheriff look bad. And the politician made a dum-dum out of himself. He even said the wrong thing. He couldn't articulate it all three ways. Let alone he only sets in two. The politician, two. Not all three. He is not judiciary review. That would be what that sheriff and his deputies have a first judiciary review based on a legislative construct, and they are the executive position of judiciary initial contact. And, politicians like to think, I don't know, the random plot against them, the anthropomorphism of them. It's the way it works. The corporation of the bad guy, the good guy. So it's been entertaining. This is a pretty interesting topic. We've actually, I posted some of the details about this today on MediaFire, and it's on our Facebook, and it's actually in LinkedIn. And what it is, it's, just a quick breakdown of it. Use it for what you will. And keep this in mind, this is not a monetized show. We kind of put this out for education level. We're not doing the political speech or the political push for anybody, or, a campaign series. We just don't do that, and we don't care. On the Facebook page, where I have it listed right up there, go download it, use it. And if you got any emails, send it to me, Dr. Mike Lee G, right below the title ticker. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, and X. It's Friday. Enjoy it. Have a great weekend. And remember, patternicity is you as well as everybody else around you. It's not a singular effect. It's an effect on everyone. It's a society, sociological effect. Psychological. Everybody's psychological desire for a need for closure of a specific event, one would ask. Or come to a conclusion of, you got to have that ambiguous closure for your day, ambiguous closure of the aversion called the workday on a Friday. That vague misunderstanding. Why did you have to go to work? Well, so that you could patternicity it all day long. Have a great day. And remember, it's not a plot against you. It's just something that was designed with construct.